Hey everybody, good morning. My name is Kurt and I'm here today to explain a service to you. If you were watching TV last night or if you've been on the internet pretty much at all today, anywhere on Twitter or Facebook, you've probably seen an ad for something called Tidal. And when you click it or if you watch it, it probably brings up this video, which really doesn't explain what they do. You can see a bunch of music artists getting together and talking about the future together and being united and all sorts of things. So this leads us into my first ever segment and second ever video entitled "The They Selling?" Okay, so real quick, Tidal is a streaming audio service, which again you could be forgiven for not having known since their video really didn't explain what they do. But it's a streaming audio service that offers two tiers: a regular tier at about $10, it's very similar to Spotify, and a high fidelity tier at $20. Recently, over the past year, we've seen a lot of things coming in with, a lot of issues being brought up with artists feeling they're not getting their fair share on services like Spotify that offer free audio services for having ads placed on them. And this is kind of the way that artists have decided to combat those and hopefully drive up the price and get a little bit more money out of people for streaming music, basically. But they do it in a pretty interesting way, and I wouldn't judge it based on, thinking that they're trying to, get every nickel and dime you for music, because there are a few things that Tidal does that Spotify doesn't, and that might have a good value proposition for the extra money. So let's get right into it and talk a little bit about the technical aspects, and we'll see if it's worth the extra cost or not for you. So Spotify streams music in a codec that allows for pretty good quality of audio, but also limits data usage so that you're not blowing through your data caps on your phone. Tidal does not. Tidal uses an audio codec called FLAC, Free Lossless Audio Codec, and it's a much higher quality and much higher bitrate audio codec than Spotify uses. Now, if you're not familiar with codecs, you've probably heard of the MP3, become synonymous with any sort of audio. There's other versions of that. Again, FLAC is another one. And what it does is when you listen to an MP3, you actually clip parts of the audio to make sure that you can compress the song into a size that is more usable and easier to transmit. FLAC does not do that. FLAC is much larger. It is still slightly compressed compared to a non-compressed file, but it does not have any of the audio compression. You get all the sound you want to hear on a FLAC thing, or on a FLAC file type. So the downside to this is, well, for example, when I was trying out the service a couple months ago, I found that I ran through about 1.5 gigs of data during a normal workout session, about an hour long, and I wasn't even streaming the whole time. So you go through a ton of data. If you're going to go with something like this, you should probably either still have unlimited data or be very diligent about connecting to Wi-Fi and saving the files to your phone and having a large storage on your phone to be able to support it. So with that said, let's talk a little bit more about the quality. When you have an MP3 versus a FLAC file, MP3s, like I said, clip some of the audio, and that really comes through on things like jazz music or instrumentals, anything with strings or instruments that are coming through. For example, when I had this service, I listened to Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World." There's things in that song I didn't even know existed. You think it's just background music. When you listen to it on a FLAC format on Tidal, you really get to hear all the instruments, and his voice comes across crystal clear. It's really great. If you have a decent speaker system and even some better headphones, you'll really be able to appreciate the difference. So if you're into more electronica, dance, EDM, that type of stuff, you may not notice a big difference. When I was trying out, I went through a whole bunch of things, Skrillex and all sorts of different electronic music, and it wasn't quite as noticeable as it was on the things heavy in instrumentals. So keep that in mind too. Overall though, I think the service is pretty interesting. For $20, you get a much higher quality if you're an audiophile. If you're not, and you're just listening to music, going out for a run, going to school, in the car, you may not appreciate and really have the equipment to truly listen to it. That said, I did notice differences on every way I listened to it. So when I had it, I listened to through my computer. I've got a pretty good set of computer speakers with a USB digital analog converter DAC, and then I've got my phone. I listen to it over Bluetooth in the car on my Bluetooth earbuds, And pretty much everywhere I listened to it, there was a noticeable difference between Spotify and Tidal. Even splitting songs down and coming into the same part, you could easily recognize which was which. The most interesting part was that even in the car on my Bluetooth earbuds, the audio quality was a little bit better. You know, Bluetooth automatically kind of degrades audio quality a bit, but Tidal was always louder. So if you have a problem with in your car, for example, that your car just doesn't get loud enough, or if you have trouble hearing Spotify playing through it, give Tidal a try, because they seem to be just flat out louder. And it was really nice because I actually have to boost the audio when I'm in my car with additional software on my phone, and with Tidal I didn't have to do that. It was slightly clearer but much louder, which was really nice. So overall, it's an interesting service. I think you should probably give it a try. I think they're doing a free 2-week trial. It's probably worth it for that. I don't know. I ended up sticking with Spotify because just for me, the extra cost for as often as I really listen and, you know, get into my music, it wasn't there for me. But it might be for you. So, you know, give it a try. If you think, go into the comments below and tell me what you thought. If it's worth if you think it's worth the extra money for the service, and if you like the idea that you know, music creators get a little bit more cut of the higher priced one. If you think that's going to be interesting for you, if you like supporting artists, that might be nice. So yeah, go in below, let me know what you think, and click subscribe if you want to see more videos about apps, services, and technology. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.